I'm joined today by Grace Hayek from Glencoe Public Library and Roz Topolsky from Vernon area. Becky is known as Clean Mama. We'll discuss tips from her new book, Clean Mama's Guide to a Peaceful Home, Effortless Systems and Joyful Rituals for a Calm, Cozy Home. The book was just published about 3 weeks ago. Congratulations, Becky.
Thank you.
It sounds like just the thing that we could all use right now. Signed copies of Becky's books are available from the bookstall in Winnetka. A link to purchase Clean Mama's Guide to a Peaceful Home can be found in the chat box on your screen. The bookstall will include an autographed book plate with each copy that you buy from the store. We'll conclude today's event with a question and answer session. You can ask your questions by typing them in the chat box, and the chat icon is located on the bottom of your screen. Please note that as an attendee today, your cameras and microphones are turned off. We will record today's presentation and you'll receive a link to the presentation in an email sent next week. Now I'd like to turn it over to Grace from Glencoe Public Library to introduce our speaker.
Hi, everyone. We're so pleased today to welcome Becky Rapinchuk, who joins us from her clean and peaceful home in the Chicago area. Becky is not only a cleaning guru, but also a wife and mom to 3, an entrepreneur, and a former art teacher. Her blog, Clean Mama, has a following of over 20 million readers. She also advises some of the leading lifestyle brands on how to clean up life's little and big messes. These brands include Martha Stewart, S.A. Johnson, Home Depot, Dyson, and Scotch-Brite, among others. And in addition, she is the go-to cleaning expert for Better Homes and Gardens, Real Simple, The New York Times, Bon Appetit, HGTV Magazine, and many others. With all the spare time that this leaves her, Becky has authored 4 books on cleaning, the newest of which was published on December 29th by HarperCollins. As Beth mentioned, it's titled Clean Mama's Guide to a Peaceful Home, Effortless Systems and Joyful Rituals for a Calm and Cozy Home. The book is about her game-changing method for freeing up both mental and physical space to help us find joy and to make our homekeeping routine effortless. Her philosophy is that by pairing up simple systems, how we get things done so that they become automatic, with joyful rituals, that is, tasks that bring calm and happiness, we can feel more at home, more at peace in our homes. And there couldn't be a more perfect moment for that than right now. Becky, thank you for sharing your domestic wisdom with us today. You can go ahead.
Thanks for having me. I'm so happy to be here with you all and share some tips and tricks for my latest book. This is it. It's Clean Mama's Guide to a Peaceful Home. Please ask questions as I'm going if you have them, and then we can answer at the end and kind of sum everything up. But I'll tell you a little bit about how I started. I started my website, Clean Mama, back in 2009. And I was just wanting to share my tips and tricks with whoever wanted to listen to them. It was kind of the wild, wild west of blogging at that point. And it was fun to put something on a social media site and for every single one of your followers to actually see it. So that was kind of when I started sharing my tips and my routine. My routine is where everything really took off, and my routine is like a cleaning routine, and it's a way to keep your home clean with minutes a day so you can enjoy other things in your life. I talk about it in my book. You can see it all over my website as well, but it's definitely the first method that I began sharing with the world. So I thought I would take you through a little bit about of the book, and then through that, I'm going to be sharing tips and tricks so that you're going to, while you're here today, you're going to find out some different ways to do things and maybe take some things home for yourself to apply in your own home. So this book it looks like a regular book, but it has a workbook feel to it. It's designed so that you can work in your home as you're going through it, taking notes, writing things down, coming back to it, using it as a reference. That's how I wanted it to be designed. I call it a love letter for your home because it's intended to be something that really helps you enjoy being in your home more every day. So at the beginning of the book, it's part one is all about finding time and creating routines. And that is, to me, one of the harder things for us as a society to come up with, is the time to actually be cleaning and taking care of our homes, because everything else is, takes center stage. I know this is difficult, but right now, especially since we're home and our homes are now our restaurants and our schools and our gyms and our workplaces, everything is at home. So this is especially important because you need to come up with systems and ways that you're going to do things in your home to make it run a little bit more smoothly and make it more enjoyable. So I talk about what kind of home do you want. You take some time to actually think through what you want your home to look like and what you want it to feel like. It doesn't matter if it's a 500 square foot apartment or a 5,000 square foot house. You are looking for ways to make your home work for you. One of the main things that I talk about in the book is a pain point task and a happy task. So we're pairing those things together. The pain point task is something that you don't like to do, and the happy task is something that you do enjoy doing. And so you are putting those two things together in a way to make it a little bit more enjoyable. For instance, I'm not a big fan of unloading the dishwasher. And so I pair that with making my coffee in the morning. And I kind of race myself to unload the dishwasher as quickly as possible while my coffee is brewing. And it's about 2 or 3 minutes is all that it takes. I know it feels like much longer, but it's pretty quick. And then by the time the dishwasher is unloaded, my coffee has brewed. I can go sit down and relax before the kids come down and everything, and enjoy my cup of coffee. So the dishwasher is unloaded. That was my pain point task. I paired it with a happy task, which for me is drinking coffee. It can be, any number of things, but that's something that I enjoy. And I put those two things together. And now every morning while I'm making my coffee, I have the habit of unloading the dishwasher. So I talk about looking for things in your home or in your life that you don't enjoy doing and put it with something that you do. So if you don't enjoy folding clothes, maybe you're going to put on a movie or listen to a book on tape or a podcast or call someone on the phone. So you're pairing that folding laundry with something that's more enjoyable. The time goes by more quickly. It doesn't seem quite as full of drudgery, and it's an easier thing to do. So that's the pain point and happy task. That's something that we discuss quite a bit in the book, as well as finding time to actually do these routines. You're going to find that in the book, I talk about putting routines to work for you. So making your home more efficient and actually putting things in systems and routines in place so that it's easier to enjoy your home. And then I also talk about some peaceful home guidelines, things that you can do that will make your home feel more peaceful. I don't necessarily recommend implementing them all at once, but simple things like if you take something out, you put it away. Dealing with clutter daily is another thing that helps with a peaceful home. But throughout the book, you're going to find different recommendations and suggestions that are designed to help you feel empowered to take care of your home in a little bit of a different way. So then part 2 of the book is the Clean Home Reset, and that is the bulk of the book. So if this is the second half, and this is where we're going room by room or area by area through our homes, and we are figuring out how to make it more efficient, run more smoothly, and that is that's where I'm going to spend most of my time today, is talking about different areas of your home and giving you some tips for that. So in the book, you're going to find a Clean Home Reset checklist. And this checklist goes through room by room, very specific things to concentrate on. For instance, in the kitchen, it's storage and organization, food storage, meal planning, grocery shopping, food prep. So we talk about those main areas in the book. In bathrooms, it's storage and organization, paper products, towels and linens, toiletries and makeup, cleaning supplies, medicine and first aid. We go through all those areas and more, but it's like a baseline for you to be working through your home. So in the kitchen, I thought I would share some tips on that. There are two kitchen sections, and one is more storage and organization based, and then one is more meal planning, meal prep based. In the kitchen storage and organization, I talk a lot about things that kind of hold us up from our kitchen feeling clutter free, or like it's easier to cook and clean up a kitchen. Well, there's a couple things in storage or in organization that are really helpful, and the main one is based on zones. So in your kitchen, if you think about putting things into zones, it's going to make it more efficient. For instance, if you drink coffee and or tea, having your coffee and tea, your coffee pot, your teapot, or your mugs, cups, whatever, tea bags, coffee, all in a general vicinity, that's going to make it easier for you to make your coffee. You're not going to be going from one end of your kitchen to the next. It's all right there by your coffee pot or by your tea kettle, and you can take care of that part of your home a little bit easier. Another thing is if you have a dishwasher or your sink or both, putting your dishes near them is going to be really helpful, because when you unload the dishwasher or put dishes away from the sink, you are going to be you want to put them, like, essentially be able to see them in one place and then put them right up above or below where you're standing, so that you're not having to take a stack of dishes to another area of your kitchen. When you load and unload the dishwasher, having tricks, like I said before, with my coffee brewing, if you have a place to put dishes, if they're still wet from the dishwasher, and let them dry, a sink tray is always helpful for that. If you have like mail on the counter or kitchen clutter on the counter, I always encourage you doing like a complete counter declutter, like take everything off your counters, like clean the surface. I recommend using dish soap and warm water with a sponge or a dishcloth and wiping everything down really well. And then doing an edit of all those items, looking at what you have, looking at what you use daily, keeping the daily things out. But if there are things that you keep a blender on your counter and you use it twice a month, look for another place to store that. If you use your coffee pot daily, of course, that needs to stay out. I would always argue for that as a coffee lover, but I think that the main thing is really looking at what you have and deciding what you want to keep out and on those counters. I find personally that when you clear a space and just let it have some room to breathe, essentially, that's really helpful to see how it makes you feel when you put things back. So sometimes if I can, I will leave things off of surfaces for 24 hours, just so I can kind of keep looking back at it visually and deciding what I really want to go back and what I want to keep there. I recommend going through your dishware, seeing if you have too many, not enough, kind of deciding what you need to keep. If there are big bowls that you have on hand that you no longer use, maybe pack those away or donate them, give them away to someone that would enjoy them. So making sure that you are taking into account all those little storage areas, even down to the utensil drawers and trays, because that's helpful too. And it's also helpful when you think about organizing too. I always think about how if you know what items go into, like for a silverware tray, for instance, or a cutlery tray, there are 6 slots or 8 slots, whatever yours has. But each one is for a specific piece of silverware. And that's helpful because then you know where it goes when you return it. And then you also can it can be put away easily. You know, if you're out of something, it's a quick visual. It was really helpful for that. So when you're organizing things, think about it like that. You want to make sure that you are putting things away in a way that is easy to find and locate, and kind of like a silverware tray. So those are just some tips for like kitchen organizing. I talk about like spices and a spice drawer or a spice cupboard cabinet. We talk about like knife blocks. I mean, everything that you can think of like from a kitchen. I talk about different like ideas and different ways to do things. One last tip on the kitchen for something that's been really helpful for me for organizing is to separate out my like baking and cooking supplies. So in my pantry, I have a large turntable. I have 2 large turntables, and they're essentially side by side. And the left-hand one is all baking related. So like cocoa and brown sugar, cornstarch, powdered sugar, baking things. And then on the right-hand side, I have cooking items like sea salt and avocado oil, olive oil, those sorts of vinegars, that sort of thing. So then they're both in the same area, in the same zone. It's like cooking and baking zone, but I have those separated out just for ease. They're easy to grab with the turntable. You can store more, you can see everything by just a quick spin, and it makes it really easy. I also recommend putting like the everyday spices on your counter. If you have the counter space, you can put it on a butcher block or in a cute dish, but you can put like your olive oil, salt, pepper, garlic, things that you use, have it next to your stove so that you can access it really quickly and easily while you're cooking. So these are just some ideas for you with the kitchen. We also go on to talking about the best way to clean in the kitchen, how to quickly clean your kitchen. One of the best tips, I think, for keeping your kitchen clean is to have a damp, I call them a bar mop towel. It's just a cotton towel that you have it, dampened with water, keep it at the stove while you're cooking. You can use it to wipe down counters if you have a little bit of free time, or if you have a spill as you're cooking, you can quickly clean that up. So, okay, so that's the kitchen organization. Then we also go into, I will share one more thing. I will talk about my nightly sink scrub, which is probably one of my favorite routines, and it combines that happy task with the pain point. The pain point being I'm not a big fan of doing dishes, and while I can get the family to help and clear the table and we do all that and we put the dishes away together and all that, but at the end of the night I do a nightly sink scrub, and it is kind of like a little bit of zen at the sink. And all it is I take a mason jar and I put baking soda and essential oil in it. I do about 30 drops total. I do about 20 drops of lemon, 10 drops of clove. You can mix up whatever essential oils you have or whatever scent you like. But then I mix that with a table knife, and I just sprinkle a little bit in my wet kitchen sink when there's nothing in it. I add a couple squirts of dish soap, scrub it with a scrub brush or a sponge, rinse it, dry it, and now I have a nice clean sink that's ready for the next day. It also fits really nicely in with that morning routine coming down to the kitchen. The kitchen is clean rather than having last night's dishes waiting for me. It's a nice clean kitchen counter, kitchen area, and it's ready for the day. So that nightly sink scrub I enjoy doing it. It smells good. It's just a nice little ritual, and it makes cleaning up the kitchen at the end of the evening a little bit more enjoyable. So that's another pain point and happy task for me. Another thing that we talk about is in the kitchen, meal planning, grocery shopping, and prep. This is a harder thing for most people, and it's because it's time consuming. You have to think ahead and you have to figure out what you want to plan. Then you have to do the grocery shopping, and it's all kind of like exhausting and a lot. So I always say to make it a little bit more simple, you're going to want to come up with a day that you shop. My day is Fridays. of course, if we need groceries before Friday, we will get them. But Friday is my grocery day, and it also is like the meal planning day. And I also add in cleaning out the refrigerator. So I've kind of put all those things together as like, and I've grouped those. The meal planning is easy when you are looking at your fridge, deciding what you have to buy. Just do a quick meal plan for the week or in the next few days, whatever works for you. And then before I go grocery shopping or put in my grocery order, I will wipe out the refrigerator. And that, by doing that weekly, the refrigerator never gets gross, and it's easier. We're not wasting food because we know what's in there as well. So those are just kind of how that works. I would encourage you to think of a day that works. The reason I chose Fridays is it was always, even when I was teaching, I would come home. You could usually leave a little early on a Friday, so I could do my grocery shopping on my way home. And I always find that Fridays is a really good day for grocery stores to be stocked well. And I don't like shopping on the weekends because it feels like it's crowded. Everyone else is shopping and stuff ends up being picked over. So Fridays has always worked for me personally, but that's me. You can decide what works best for you with that, but it's just a little, like a simple way to do that. I also, in the book, share just I recommend doing like a category shopping list. So you write down things that you need routinely, something that you buy every week. Maybe it's bread or apples or whatever it is, and put those things down so that you are using that as like kind of a pre-made shopping list. It makes it a little bit easier. And then also having a place for extras. So in your pantry, if you, especially now with just not going out as much, it's nice to, if I buy something, I might buy 2 of them, and then I will have like that extra stock, like back stock in my pantry or in my garage fridge or whatever. It's nice to have that little extra on hand. So if you find something on sale or you use it every week, I always say might as well buy 2 or 3, and then you have that available to you. Just even like, this is like just a simple tip, but I put like a quarter sheet pan in the refrigerator. So a baking sheet, and they're like about this big. It's probably, I don't know, 9 by 13 in size. So it's smaller, but it has the rims on it. And I put any meat on that we, like uncooked meat. If I buy it on Friday and I'm going to cook it or grill it on Saturday, we'll put that in the fridge. And then that way it stays off of the shelf from like with contamination, whatnot. And it ends up being a nice, easier way to kind of keep that organized. I always recommend, if you can, divide spaces up in your refrigerator, or do it, because that way it's going to be easier. Like for instance, those big like fruit and veggie drawers, if you can get like something to section it off, so you can separate out different fruits and vegetables and take them out of the bag, it's going to make it easier to store, and you'll be able to see exactly what you have in your refrigerator as well. So zones in refrigerators are helpful too. Sometimes it might sound like it's a little bit like over the top with like organizing, but when you see how simple it is and how much easier it makes your life, just those little tweaks are really helpful. Throughout the book, you're going to find these, they're called decision trees. It's a house. And it talks about, like at the top of this one, it says, is meal planning, prep, and grocery shopping where you want to implement a change? Yes or no, or maybe. And then you decide, like if you were to say yes, it says write down 3 action steps that you can take, like prepping groceries when you get home from the store. And then you can write down an idea that you can use today. So this is a way to really think through the book. I think sometimes when we read like more of a nonfiction book, you just kind of just read right through it. This is having you stop and kind of reflect and think through the different areas of your home as you go. You could, obviously read through it and skip all of that, but you're kind of missing out on the implementation part and where it can help you in your own home. So the next chapter is bathrooms. In this chapter, I talk about how to, like, the best way to clean a bathroom. And I will tell you that because I think that that's like a really helpful life skill that is to clean bathrooms. On Mondays, Monday is the day that I clean bathrooms. I have a real specific cleaning routine that has a lot of flexibility to it. And I'll share that like more towards the end here. But with the cleaning routine in bathrooms, I have 4 bathrooms in our house, and I can do them all in 15 minutes. And it's because I clean them weekly, and because I have a system in place to do that. And I'm not like breaking a sweat or anything like that. It's just how I clean them, and it's with this system. So what I do is I start with my supplies in a bucket or a cleaning caddy, whatever you like, and I use microfiber to clean my bathrooms. I take a microfiber cloth. I spray on it like my mirror or window cleaner. And then I wipe the mirror in the first bathroom. And then I take my all-purpose disinfecting cleaner and I spray the entire bathroom down, essentially. So I spray the sink, the toilet, the bathtub, or shower. I don't do the floors on Mondays. I save those for later in the week as part of my routine. But then I put in my toilet cleaner and go to the next bathroom, and I repeat that. And then when I have repeated that in my bathrooms, I go back to the first bathroom. Now I've already wiped down the mirror, but I'm going to wipe down the sink, the toilet, and the tub or the shower. I use separate cloths for each of those things. Then I scrub the toilet, and I put the toilet brush under the toilet seat so it hangs over the toilet and can drip in the toilet tank. And then I spray the brush with hydrogen peroxide to disinfect it, let that sit and dry. I go to the next bathroom and I repeat that, wiping the sink, the toilet, the tub, or the shower, and scrubbing the toilet. And after I've repeated that, it goes really quickly. You have all of your supplies with you, and you are just repeating the same thing over and over. And if you're doing that weekly, you are able to, your bathroom will stay cleaner. It will make it easier to clean every week. So it will take you less time. If you're starting it and you say, I'm going to try that on Monday, it's going to take you probably longer than 15 minutes to do your bathrooms, because you might have some buildup or extra dirt or grime, whatever, that maybe you haven't cleaned it in a couple weeks. So that's my bathroom cleaning method. I also recommend using white towels in the bathroom. They're easy to clean. I use oxygen whitener in my laundry. It's like a bleach alternative. I don't use any bleach. If you have not ever seen me or seen my blog, I do talk about natural cleaning and using safe products and ingredients so that no one has to wear masks or hazmat suits or anything like that when they're cleaning their homes, and it's safe for your families. When you have white towels, it has a spa-like feel, and it matches with any decor, and it just looks fresh and clean, and that's what you want in a bathroom. Let's see. So another thing that I talk about in the book are like things that we're talking about, things that bother you or things that aren't working. Sometimes toiletries end up being like all over, or if I know for me personally, I have a hard time putting my makeup back away in the drawer. So like or my hair stuff, skin stuff, whatever. So I have to remind myself to put those things away when I'm done using them. And I usually do that while I'm brushing my teeth. So I'll stand for, you're supposed to brush your teeth for 2 minutes. I don't know if I do, it's probably more like a minute, but while I'm brushing my teeth, I'll be brushing with one hand and putting things away with the other. That's kind of that pain point happy task. Now, neither of those things are really a happy task, but I know that I can put those two tasks together and make it a little bit easier. So once we kind of go to another thing for the bathrooms is like hanging like towels and towel management. And if you have too many towels or towels on the floor, there's always issues with that. So I talk about that in the book as well. I recommend some kind of a hook or that you can put up where you're going to actually have, there's adequate circulation in that area so the towels can dry in between uses. And then people always wonder how many towels I recommend per person. And it really depends on what your threshold is for washing. I recommend washing towels every other day. So, and then as part of my routine, Saturday is sheets and towels day. So that's the day we launder them. So I usually recommend 3 to 4 towels per person. Some people would go with 2, some people would have 6, but it really, you kind of have to do the math on when you're going to wash them and how many days you go between washing them that way too. So the next section is the bedrooms. And in the bedrooms, we talk about how a bedroom really affects our days. And it's nice to come home or come from your downstairs where you've been working all day, whatever, at the end of the day, and come to a nice clean bedroom where your bed is made and it feels like a restful place where you want to relax at the end of a day. So the things that tend to be like universal for people is that bedrooms are dusty. You might have unfolded laundry in your bedroom. You might have like clothes piled up, things that don't belong in the bedroom. So we kind of go through different areas, different things you can do in the bedroom to keep it a little bit more of a more neat, tidy area. One thing that's really helpful is to kind of start by looking at where the dust is collecting in your room or why there's dust in your room. Making sure that you have clean vents in your bedroom is helpful. Doing a really good vacuuming under the furniture, behind the furniture, pulling things out. Our bedrooms tend to be pretty neglected that way. Putting like pillow protectors on your pillows, mattress protectors, that keeps it the dust mites down and all that. Also, laundering your sheets weekly is helpful for keeping the dust down. If you use like down pillows or down comforters, you're going to have a little bit more dust. So you just need to make sure that you are vacuuming and laundering that bedding routinely too. If you are looking for a way to make your bedroom feel better when you are in your bedroom, I always recommend a book or two on the edge of on a nightstand so that you have something to read. And in the book, I recommend not having phones just because it's nice to be able to go into your bedroom and just unplug. I know a lot of people use their phones as their alarms, or you might need it in case someone were to call you. But if you can kind of think of your bedroom as a place to unplug and unwind, a book, a dish by your bedside table with lotion or lip gloss, whatever. It's always nice to have kind of a pampering spot by your bed too. So those are just kind of some things I share DIY recipes in the book. There's a recipe for a fabric refresher. So if you wanted to freshen up your pillows or your bedding, you could do the recipe in there. I'll tell you what it is real quick. But it's a half a cup of water, a quarter of a cup of vodka or rubbing alcohol, and then 10 drops of lavender essential oil. You put it in a small spray bottle, shake it up, and then you can spray your pillows, your bedding. You could spray the air if you wanted to freshen it up a little bit too, but it's a nice way to freshen up the bedroom. So once we are done with the bedroom, we go into linens and laundry, and we talk about the laundry room, all the different things that surround our pain points with laundry, which are typically huge. I think everyone struggles with laundry in some way or another. If you have not figured out how to do laundry or how to stay on top of it, you'll love this chapter, because I talk about how to do laundry every day, why you might want to do a load of laundry every day. It might sound ridiculous. I understand that. That's fine. But if you have enough laundry to do a load every day, I recommend it. It's so much easier than doing all of your laundry on one day or saving it for the weekend. It takes so much less time to take care of and put away. You just need to try it for a week and see what happens, and how that, if I can change your mind. With that, a couple other laundry related tips is I recommend using one small basket or hamper per person, especially with kids. If you have them, using a smaller basket for them is so much easier, because then when you're teaching them how to do their own laundry, it's not so overwhelming for them either. I recommend teaching your kids how to do their own laundry at a young age if you can. And then I think it's easier to separate clothing by person, because then that makes it easier with the different baskets too, because then you're actually taking, you're not having to sort multiple times. You have to sort through socks and shirts and whatever else that you have in that load, but you don't have to sort through each person's as well. So that's how I recommend doing that. I also talk about different ways to fold things, different ways to fold sheets and towels, shirts. We talk about using some tips for laundry stains, different things that you can do that way as well. I always keep a stick of chalkboard chalk in the laundry room, and that way, if you get a little a grease stain or an oil stain on a shirt, you can just draw on it. That will absorb the oil. You can launder it as usual, and typically that will come out. So it's kind of just a good laundry room tip. After linens and laundry, we go into living spaces, and we talk about how clutter can build up on those surfaces, what we can do to keep it so that we're not building the clutter up in those surfaces as well. And also just keeping our living areas neat and tidy and nice spaces for us. I also recommend, if you're wanting to work in an area in a living area or any area of your home, just do one area at a time. Don't empty out a whole room and then try to go back to it. Just work section by section, surface by surface. It's so much easier to do that. At least to me. If you have kids, think about ways that you can include their toys. And I've always thought that it's easier to have it look more like you put toys in a basket and then on a bookshelf. When the toys are put away, it does not look like a toy room or like a toy store. It can still remain like an adult space. So that's just something easy. I also talk about doing a toy library. So if you have small children and you feel like they get bored easily or they don't play with things long enough, it's really helpful to put some of those toys away. So separate things out by type. Like, so if you had like Duplos or Magnetiles or animals, you'd put them in their own box, bin, basket, whatever. And then just bring out a couple one week, take those away, bring some other ones out the next week so that they don't have so many choices. Kids tend to play better and more thoroughly longer with that. So after the living spaces, we go into the office and paperwork, and we talk about all the struggles that there are with paperwork and office and how to store things. I talk about an in and out basket, how helpful that is when you are starting to organize your paperwork, just having a place to put things that you need to deal with in that in basket, and then things that you are done with in that out basket. Just that simple separation is helpful. I also talk about when you come in from bringing your mail in, dealing with it right away rather than stacking it up. That is just a little like a daily task that I do. We also go into the entryway and mudroom and kids' rooms and spaces. So beyond just those living areas, we talk about kids' bedrooms, how to work through those as well. And let's see, what else do we have? We have garages and basements, vehicles. And then the last chapter is my cleaning routine, which I'll kind of briefly talk to you about here. It is super simple. There are 4 parts to it. The first part are the daily tasks. Those are the things that I recommend doing daily. And that's where I always recommend starting. And this is a cleaning routine for anyone. I have used this in all different stages, at all different degrees of busy, all different ages of kids, no kids, and I've tweaked it. I have thousands, millions, I don't know, many people around the world that do the cleaning routine, have success with it, and really love how it works in their homes. So their 5 daily tasks are to make the beds, check the floors. So you are not vacuuming every day, but if you need to do a quick vacuum or a quick sweep, you can do that. Wiping counters. This is like kitchen counters at the end of dinner or meals. Checking your bathroom counters if something needs to be wiped up. Doing a quick, the 4th one is declutter. You're doing a quick declutter every day, putting things away. You could be working on a clutter area if you wanted to, like if you were going through paperwork every day, you set a timer and spend 5 or 10 minutes and go through the paperwork. However you want to use that daily task is up to you. And then the 5th daily task is to do laundry every day. So those 5 daily tasks, once you start to implement them, they will really make a difference in your home. But then you're going to be ready for those weekly tasks. Those are the things that are like Monday is cleaning the bathrooms, Tuesday is dusting day, Wednesday is vacuuming day, Thursday is washing floors, Friday is catch-all day. That is also, as I said before, the day that I do grocery shopping, meal planning, and then Saturday is sheets and towels. Sunday, we just do the daily tasks and relax. And those are super helpful when they're implemented with the daily tasks. Though your home will be clean most of the time because you're touching on all the different areas of your home all week long. Then I also talk about rotating tasks. Those are like deep cleaning tasks. I recommend that you do monthly. They change, but if you are ready for like the deep cleaning tasks, then you would add those in. And then the monthly focus is an organizing area. So every month is like just an area of the home that you concentrate on organizing. Like January is the whole house declutter. February is kitchens. March is spring cleaning. They're just things that help. So you're deep cleaning, deep organizing your home all year long as well. So that's the routine. That is a pretty good breakdown of the book. And of course, there's like more than that. There's also DIY recipes in the back of the book as well. So you'll find my favorites for the glass cleaning spray, all-purpose disinfecting, a floor cleaning spray. What else? There's a handful of different recipes here. A bathroom scrub, nightly sink scrub, shower spray, and I think there's one more page here too. And then soft cleaning paste. So there's, the book is full of great ideas, different ways for you to be in your home and enjoying it in a new and different way, and actually like finding some peace there as well. So with that, do you guys have any questions at all for me?
Hi, Becky. Yeah, we do have some questions in the chat, so I will just share them with you. Well, someone writes that she's a grandma with a basement of toys and what would be a good organizing system. I know you started to talk about some toy tips, but how about, I guess it's maybe just, what about basements in general? Do you have some tips about kind of the basement in general? And
yeah, I think basements, I always think of like plastic tubs being really helpful, just because if there's ever a leak or anything like that, it's in basements. I mean, my basement is not finished, so I want to keep any bugs or spider webs out of those things. So I definitely go with a tub. If you have a finished basement, you might have something different, but I think a toy library would be great. And definitely like a book basket or a book bin that you could have as well. It would be really helpful.
Great. Okay, let's see. We have a question from someone who would like to know, can you talk about ways to combat clutter?
Yeah, I think that the best way to combat clutter is to deal with it daily. So by taking care of every single day, choosing an area, it can be something as simple as just starting with your mail. I have found that, so like this week, like for the next week, just open up your mail and deal with it when you come in, okay? And then build on that. So once you've got that little small thing down, then start to look at other areas of your home and think of ways that you can declutter. You can even make a list of areas that you feel are cluttered in your home. You might have 5 things, you might have 30, and then every day set a timer for 10 minutes and work on one of those areas, and then cross it off as you finish it, and make a resolution to not clutter it back up.
Okay. Let's see. Someone would like to know, do you use 4 separate cleaning buckets for the bathroom? So if you have 4 bathrooms, do you have 4 buckets?
I have one that I use, and I just take that same one to all the bathrooms. The main thing is that I'll usually have like 12 cleaning cloths for each sink or each toilet. And then that's like the main thing that you're going to have a lot of, but I just do one bucket. If you would prefer to have, some people prefer using like one bathroom cleaning caddy and keeping it in the bathroom. That works too. I used to do that when my kids were smaller and I would clean the bathroom while they were bathing. So you can kind of decide what works best for you, but my recommendation is just one.
Okay. Someone writes with a question. She says she tries to air dry many of her clothes and always using a drying rack. How can she keep the bathroom cleaner when clothes are on the rack and it looks messy?
Have you ever seen like a wall mounted drying rack? I have one in my laundry room. I actually have it on my favorites page on my website if you wanted to look at it. It's from Ballard Designs, but you can mount it on the wall and pull it out, and then when you're not using it, you push it back in, so it just looks like 3 things of wood. That would be my recommendation.
Okay. What about cleaning out your fridge? When you talked about you clean your fridge every week, so does that mean you are actually like taking out each of the shelves and the drawers, or are you just wiping it down with a cloth? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I am just wiping it down with a cloth. I like once a month, I'll usually take things out and kind of take it apart, or as needed. Sometimes it doesn't need it every month. Sometimes it does. Like after Christmas, we had so much food and New Year's and everything. So there was definitely more, it needed a good deep cleaning, but like this month there probably won't need to be, emptied out. So it's more as needed, but definitely just a quick wipe down weekly before I fill it back up.
Someone has another question. I'm not sure if this is your area of expertise or not, but she wants to know about dealing with emails. Like, I know this isn't the house, but it is in our computers, and that can be really overwhelming. So do you have suggestions about that?
I do. That is something that I talk about quite a bit, just because it's clutter. And even though it's not like visual, it's still visual. Or I guess if it's not physical clutter, but it's, visual mental clutter. I try to zero out my email weekly. So I will go through and usually Friday is my day to do that and I have like a work email account and a personal email account, but I will try to get that as close to zero as I possibly can. I use folders. That is so I will, for instance, we've been going back and forth with the library. So there's a library folder, the library Zoom, and everything goes into that folder. And then it's not in my inbox stacked up. That's definitely the folders and the email is to me the secret, because you can, even if you're not done with it yet, as long as you name it something that you will remember and associate with what you need, it's out of your inbox and so much more helpful. You can also archive emails too. So if it's something that you're like, I don't know, I might need this, I might not, you can archive it. And if it doesn't feel like it's important enough to even file.
Okay, so now we have some specific questions about cleaning. So if someone would like to know, what is the best product for cleaning the grout in a shower?
Yeah, there's a couple different things. I have a blog post. If you were to search grout on cleanmama.com, you'd see directions for that. I either recommend using cream of tartar. It works really well if you make it with a paste with water and you just scrub it with a scrub brush. That will whiten up your grout. I also recommend oxygen whitener, which is chlorine-free powder like OxyClean. I sell oxygen whitener in my shop, but it's very similar, and it has hydrogen peroxide. It's like dried hydrogen peroxide. Essentially, you mix it with water and then mix a paste, and that does a really good job whitening. You can also use just a scrub brush and like a steel soap, depending on where you're at with. If it's just soap scum, that will work really well to remove that, because it does not. It's like a plant-based. Castile soap is a plant-based soap, so it does a good job with that too.
How would you recommend cleaning the coils in the back of a refrigerator?
Yep, you're gonna have to pull it out, and you're gonna have to vacuum. Pull it out, unplug it, and then vacuum it with like a nozzle attachment on your vacuum cleaner. There, okay. It's not fun, but
not necessary. Fun at all. How often do you do that? Okay, I want it.
Whenever we need to. We've had the refrigerator we have right now, you can't do it with it. And I was like, yes.
Okay. How would you clean a stainless steel dishwasher? I guess they're about it's a brush, stainless steel on the outside. What would you use to clean that?
Yeah, surprisingly, you can use white vinegar on stainless steel. If you can spray it on a microfiber cloth, and if you go in the direction of the stainless steel, there's a grain on your stainless steel. Generally, they're going to run horizontally, so you would wipe this way. Occasionally, you'll see stainless steel that has a vertical grain on it, but yeah, that's how I clean it. You can, if you need a little bit of polishing, you can put a little bit of even olive oil or avocado oil, which sounds strange, but just a little teeny tiny bit on a paper towel, and you can buff that on it and it will shine it right up too. But that's how I recommend doing stainless steel. It's cheap and easy, and it works really well.
Someone's asking about cleaning granite countertops. Just asking about something called oxygen whitener, or just in general, how would you recommend cleaning granite countertops?
Yeah, I have a recipe. It's in the book. It's called the Stone Cleaning Spray, and it is. It's also on my website too, if you wanted to find it. But it is. Let me see where it's just water and rubbing alcohol, and like a drop or two of dish soap. And it's probably one of my favorite cleaning recipes. It works great on granite, marble, stone, quartz. But that's a really good one, and that's how I clean them. The oxygen whitener is a powder in my shop. It's generally used for laundry and then also for cleaning too.
I think we went through most of the questions because some of them you covered in your presentation. People were asking about, dust and how to manage that. You already talked about that. So I think some of these other questions I think you covered. So I think we had some really great questions. So Becky, thank you so much for sharing all these tips with us. It was fantastic. Beth and Grace, if you want to join us again so we can kind of just see everybody for a minute. And we just want to make sure that everyone knows that there's the link to the book stall for purchasing books. There's signed copies of the book. And we'll try to put up a slide also with the link as well. So Becky, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It was so great to see you and to be with you all today. Thanks for coming.
And thank you for everyone for joining us at home. Oh, I see the slides up now. So here's the link for the book stall. You can call or go online and they will make sure you get a copy of Becky's book that is signed, which is always nice to have the author sign your copy of your book. So thank you to everyone for joining us today. We hope you walked away with lots of good ideas and ways to keep your home peaceful. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.